그런 건 다 인정해 드릴게요.
알겠습니다. 자연 스모그 아니죠?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries channel. What if one simple word turns out to be Jikook's deepest confession of love? When Arirang no longer just means a folk song, but instead becomes my beloved, everything feels different. And if this is any indication, then the upcoming new album isn't just music. It's a love letter finally ready for the world to read. When Jikook said Arirang, it felt like the world stopped for a moment. Not only because the word sounded beautiful and meaningful, but because it hid feelings far deeper than mere symbols or traditions. Arirang, long known as a Korean folk song with nuances of longing, sadness, and unspoken love, suddenly seemed to change its meaning when removed from the context of Jimin and Jungkook. Many began to realize that Arirang isn't just about goodbyes or travels, but can also be interpreted as my beloved, the one I love and miss most. That's why this moment felt so powerful. Jikook has always had a unique way of conveying their feelings, not through direct confessions, but through small, meaningful symbols. A glance, a brief smile, a gentle touch, and now a traditional word that suddenly felt so personal. Arirang seemed to be their secret language, a love language that could only be understood by the heart that felt, not just by the ears that heard. For fans, especially those who had followed Jikook's journey for a long time, this was neither surprising nor unusual. It felt like a puzzle piece finally finding its place. For a long time, many had sensed that Jimin and Jungkook's relationship possessed an emotional depth beyond that of mere bandmates. There was warmth, a sense of mutual protection, a comfort they rarely displayed openly, but always felt real. When Arirang was paired with the meaning of my beloved, the atmosphere immediately shifted to a more intimate one. The word was no longer merely a cultural heritage, but an expression of deeply personal feelings. It's as if Jikook is saying, without saying much, that there's someone so precious in their hearts, someone who feels like a home, a place of safety, and a place where love can grow peacefully. And at the same time, the news of a new album approaching makes everything feel even more magical. It's as if Arirang isn't just a message to each other, but also a bridge to a new era. This album feels like the beginning of a deeper, more emotional, and more honest story. While BTS's music has always spoken of love, pain, hope, and healing, this time it feels like there's a more personal layer of emotion. Imagine an album born from the meaning of my beloved. The songs might not mention names or reveal stories explicitly, but they'll be filled with genuine emotion. The soft tones, meaningful lyrics, and warm atmosphere are like love letters sent through music. And when we listen to it, we don't just hear voices, but feel the feelings embedded within. Jikook always makes everything feel real without having to explain. They never said, "This is our love story," but every little gesture seemed to whisper it. The way Jungkook gazed intently at Jimin, the way Jimin smiled as if he'd found a home when he was near Jungkook, all of it was a language of love that needed no translation. Arirang now feels like a symbol of all that. A word that embodies longing, love, and loyalty. A word that holds both pain and beauty. And when translated as my beloved, its meaning becomes much more personal. It's no longer about folklore or history, but about two hearts connecting in a world full of spotlights. Fans certainly felt the same thrill. There was a sense of emotion, happiness, and a little trembling, because it was as if we were being invited closer to Jikook's inner world. Not to judge, not to coerce, but to understand that behind the grand stage and the spotlights, there were genuine human feelings. Because with Jikook, love is never about proving something to the world. It's about protecting what feels sacred between them. It's about choosing softness in a world that often demands strength, and choosing sincerity in an industry built on perfection. That's why every small sign they give feels so meaningful. They remind us that real emotions don't need validation. They only need honesty. Arirang becomes even more powerful when we think of it as a promise. A promise to stay, to remember, and to cherish. In a life full of schedules, stages, and expectations, having someone who feels like my beloved is everything. It's the anchor that keeps the heart steady. And perhaps that's what Jikook has always represented to each other. Stability in chaos, warmth in exhaustion, and comfort when words are too heavy to speak.
모두 행복한 사람들이 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 우리 멤버 이번에 그 가족 사진 한 번 더 찍어야 돼요. 우리 멤버존이 있는데 올해 거 사진이 없어요.
곡 제목처럼 월요일부터 일요일까지 내일이 함께라면 좋겠다는 바람을 전하는 정열적인 세레나데.
The beauty of this interpretation is that it doesn't force anything. It simply allows feelings to exist naturally, just like their bond, which has never been loud or demanding, but always gentle and sincere. Their connection feels like a quiet melody that grows stronger the more you listen to it. You don't notice it at first, but once you do, you can never unhear it. So when the new album finally arrives, many of us won't just hear music. We'll hear emotions. We'll hear stories of longing, devotion, hope, and love woven between the lines. We'll hear Arirang not only as a song, but as a heartbeat, a reminder that love can be timeless and tender at the same time. And maybe that's the greatest gift Jikook gives us. Not certainty, not answers, but feelings. Feelings that remind us to believe in love that is pure, quiet, and deeply meaningful. Feelings that make us pause, smile, and whisper softly in our hearts. This is what my beloved truly means. This is what always makes Jikook special. They don't need to make grand declarations. They just need one word, one song, one small, meaningful moment. From there, the world will understand that love doesn't always have to be shouted. Sometimes, love can be whispered through a simple word, like Arirang, which now feels like it's transformed into my beloved. That's the true beauty of Jikook. They never shout about love. They just let it be. His arc grows, lives, and speaks through small, meaningful details. Arirang is just one word, but it holds a profound feeling, like a soft whisper that only a heart willing to feel can hear. If you feel that warmth, if you believe that music can be the language of love, then we're on the same wavelength. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue to explore every hidden message, every sweet moment, and every beautiful story from Jikook together. See you in the next video because their story isn't over yet. And perhaps it's just begun.